wait a minute, what's happening here then? Where do we even begin? I don't understand what kind of story this is. It's oh, it's so, I'm not sure how to explain this. Okay, Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. Oh my goodness, I don't know where to start. So, basically, essentially, I believe it's supposed to be like a Rumpelstiltskin retelling, inspired by kind of thing, reimagined, that type of thing, and you get a lot of that, I guess, vibes, because there are like spinning silver into gold, not spinning, names are very important, and so on and so forth. You get a lot of that in this book. However, to completely tell you what this book is about, I don't know if I can, because there are so many POVs throughout, and that would kind of what I do think is too many POVs involved, but it could work. Multiple POVs can work in books. I'm not totally against it. However, the way it's written in this book, the POVs will change multiple times within a chapter, just within a text. You don't really like get now it's a different character you're following. You don't get told in any way that it's changed. So all of a sudden you're reading and you're like, wait a minute, what's happening here then? Because you get stuck in this like say this one character goes from her house into town to do whatever, and then all of a sudden you're in the middle of the countryside picking poppies, and you're like, wait, how did I get there? We don't know. Because, well, it's a different character, but how are you supposed to know it's a different character if you're not told it's a different character? Because usually Brandon Sanderson does this, and I don't mind when he does it, because he does it in a way that, like, the first sentence is usually, like, you have a change, so you either get, like, usually you get like the name of the characters involved in that first sentence, so you know you've changed, not just character but like maybe even place. And you don't get this in this book. Maybe once or twice, but there's so much like changes, so many changes, and it's like I don't know, it's like a TV series or a movie or whatever, something visual where you just change scenes multiple times every now and again. But then you know, because you can see the character in front of you, you can see it when it's a different character, unless they're twins and they look like identical. It may be a bit harder, but you can see in front of you that it's changed. Or hear, possibly, if they talk. But this is just text, so we need more explanation. I mean, we can only imagine so far, and then if you're one of those people that don't see things in your head, I don't remember what it's called, but there are lots of people like that, and for me, that's a bit weird. I can't imagine being like that, because I see pictures in my head, I see words, all that. I hear the text as I'm reading it. So for me, imagining not being able to do that is weird, but I know it exists, and it's not weird for them, for those people. But how, say I was one of those persons. One of those people that couldn't see or hear or like imagine things in that way. Like my brain was, it was empty in here while I was reading. Because that's what the way I've been explained it is. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I would like to talk to someone who has this thing one day to try to, you know, understand it. But for now, I don't understand it. So it's very hard for me to explain. Anyway, but if I were one of those people that couldn't hear, see, or whatever, this book would be so much harder to read, and I definitely wouldn't have finished the book. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, she writes really well. It's just that, I mean, the most of the text, it's just that there's explanations missing. There's explanations missing. Specifically, what character are we following? So I'm kind of disappointed in it, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I didn't have that high expectations of it because I didn't really know what it was about. I didn't really know of it. The only really book or series I know of Naomi Novik's is the A Deadly Education one, which I will be reading at some point. And I'm very excited about that still. I don't know a lot about it, but yeah. So yeah, this is a miss for me. I do really like all the blues on the covers though. So that's that. I gotta appreciate that. Yeah. But yeah, no, miss for me, miss. Yeah. It happens. It's fine. Yeah. Alright. Kalynn Bayron has done it again. Oh, I can't with the glares. I can't. Let's see. How... Here? Maybe? Possibly. So, Sleep Like Death. It is a Snow White retelling. I want to say it's more like heavily inspired. What's the other word for it? Reimagined. Yes. So, Snow White reimagined. I'm not sure how much more I can say than that. So, Snow White, in this case, is called Eve, this being her. So, where do we even begin? So, Eve, she has a mother. Well, she has two mothers. One of her mothers made a deal with the night. I'll get to what the night is later. But she made a deal with the night to have like the greatest singing voice, and she was turned into a bird. Because that's what happens when you make deals. Basically, this knight in the realm, he's not actually a knight, but that's what that is what everybody's calling him. He is sort of like a djinn, you know, where you make a wish and it turns out very, very badly for you. Not very many people have actually made wishes that's, you know, been good for them. I'm not sure anyone's actually made a wish that's been great. But, you know. So, basically, Eve is, well, she's training with someone called the Huntress. Yes, the hunter in the story is a lady. Hell yeah. And later on, she does come across the seven dwarfs, although in this case, it's a father with four sons, because 3 of them didn't make it. But yeah, that's you need to read the whole thing to get all the little bits. It's fun though. I really like Kalynn Bayron's way of reimagining all these, like, I want to say Cinderella, but that's her other book, Cinderella's Dead. Also very nice. I like her way of reimagining these, well, Disney. these fairy tales and giving them new life, but also a very different life. So in this case, Cinderella, Eve, she has two mums, but none of the mums are, you know, evil as like the evil queen is in Snow White. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. I bloody love it. It's a whole. It's short. It's easy to read. It's a new life kind of a deal for fairy tales, and I hope Kalynn Bayron writes even more of these kinds of books because I bloody love them. I eat them up like yes, 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 yes. The Kingdom of Back. Back? I kind of want to say Bach, but I'm pretty sure it's back. By Marie Lu. So, The Kingdom of Back confused me. I kind of a lot. Because I was reading it and I was like, I don't understand what kind of story this is supposed to be. So basically, we have Mozart, the Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, the piano playing, well, he played more than the piano, didn't he? Anyway, the musical prodigy, as it were. We have him, but the story is more centered around his sister. I'm not going to say this right, so never mind, but Nanorel was her nickname anyway. And I was like, first off, I did not know he had a sister. And then because it's like a fantastical story, I'm like, I don't understand what kind of story this is. Is this like a historical fiction, or is it like fantasy? Is it like what what Marie Lu in this case imagined their growing up life being? Well, well, so I did like move towards the back and read the author's notes and then like the acknowledgements and all that before I actually finished the book, because I read like, I want to say like a fourth of the book or something, a third, something like that. And I was like, I was so confused. For one, I wanted to look up Mozart and understand some bits because I don't know anything about Mozart. No, he's this musical prodigy genius dude. I don't know. Basically, classical music and me, we're not friends. People say relaxes them, the classical music. I get stressed out by classical music. Yeah, it does not relax me. They used to put some teachers in school used to put on classical music during tests, and because it was supposed to relax us. Apparently this is like science. It stressed the hell out of me. I mean, I was stressed the hell out before because testing and me don't work. So I don't know, but okay. I don't know. Anyway, not the point. So I read the author's note, and basically Marie Lu wrote this book. It was like the first thing she ever sent out to not publishers, editors, what's the one? The agents, author agents. And it basically was a mess. But she grew up playing piano and she kind of got hooked on Mozart because it was easy to learn but hard to master, something like that. And then later on, she sort of learned more about Mozart and learned he had a sister, and now she got kind of obsessed, I guess, in knowing the whole thing. So basically, Mozart had an older sister who outlived him also, but anyway, she started playing music. Her dad taught her, and then Mozart started picking up as well, and turns out prodigal genius or something like that. And at the time, women weren't, you know, allowed to do a whole lot. She was allowed to perform and such because, yeah, it brought in the money for the family. I think the father, especially in this book, was very like, using of his children to gain popularity and money kind of a deal. It wouldn't surprise me if that was the real life dad as well. Anyway, not the point. Anyway, so Nannerl, she started eventually writing music as well, but because she was a woman, she wasn't actually allowed to do that. So apparently also Mozart, the Wolfgang dude, because her name was Mozart as well, they used to correspond through letters, and he used to ask her for, like, are you still composing, write me something, so on and so forth. And that was later in life, but during the childhood years, as it were, the teen years for her at least, she'd write, and at some point the dad finds her compositions and publishes them under Mozart's name, the Wolfgang Mozart's name. Yeah. So there may be, like, out there in the real world, because that's sort of the idea that some of the music that's written under Mozart is actually maybe hers and also them together's music. Anyway, that's not the point. But because they were performing as children, they used to, like, make up these stories on the long carriage rides between cities and such, and they made up this world called the Kingdom of Bach, basically. And they also had, I don't know if this is the map or if this is just I think it's a reimagined map, but they had a, like, manservant, and they asked him to, like, draw a map of this world, and basically this should be that map. I think this map is the reimagined map for this story rather than the actual map that he drew. Anyway, Marie-Lou took these inspirations and wrote her own version of things, I guess. So in this, she imagined what this Kingdom of Bach would be, and the reasoning behind it, and all of the things. So the book actually starts with the last chapter, but we don't know that when we start the book. But when we when we finish the book, we actually realize it goes around in a circle. It's it's interesting. For the most part, before I read the author's note, I was so confused because I felt like she'd taken these real characters, real people, and made them into characters, and it wasn't like a historical fiction kind of a deal, because of all the fantasy elements, and it confused the hell out of me, and I didn't understand the point of it. But then I read the author's note, so I do recommend read the author's note before reading the book if you haven't already, and it kind of made more sense, and the whole book became a whole different thing for me, and I was more entertained and more interested in knowing what was going to happen and what was happening. Very easy to read. I would, if I were to rate it, I would rate it about a 3-star. It's not one I want to go back to over and over again, but I did enjoy having read it once I finally understood the point of it. So there's that. I do very much enjoy this cover though. It's gorgeous. Yes, so that's the Kingdom of Bach. Yeah, we're having this angle here because Tom is, he's being kind of cute. Yeah. Which also makes no sense as I'm about to hold up a book in front of his face. Maybe I hold up a book in front of my own face. That actually makes sense, yes. Black Hole Cinema Club by Christopher Edge. I think I woke him up. So this book, it's basically it's so I'm not sure how to explain this, but basically there are these friends. They go to their local cinema club, and watch movies. It just so happens that this time around, when they're going to the cinema to watch this movie, they kind of get sucked into the movie. Yeah, it's that kind of book. So we are following our main, what was his name again? Lucas. Lucas was his name. So we're following from his point of view as he's kind of navigating this. There's a couple of movies, but the first movie is kind of navigating, finds his friend, one of them, and is like, hello? And they kind of, I guess, become heroes of the movie and move on to the next movie. This happens a couple of times, and basically they need to get to the end of it. They're just thrown into the middle of the movie at a high stake point, and then they need to figure out what to do to, you know, go on to the next one and potentially get out of the movie. So, without spoiling it too much, if you've seen Inception, it kind of feels like that. The ending also kind of feels like that. You're like, questions galore. What is happening? Is anything actually real? So many questions. However, highly entertaining, highly good time. I love the concept of it. There were, like, obviously there's always going to be like snippets here and there that I'm like, what is this? Because I never understand anything, okay? I never understand anything. So, yeah, but mostly such a good time, so funny. I will definitely be reading more of his books, if I can find any at my library. I don't think my library has any more, but I'm pretty sure he's written a few. Oh, yeah. According to this, he seems to have written a few, and now my face is going really, really red. Anyway, highly entertaining, yes. Look at Tom again. Tom? Tom? Hi. Oh, little baby. Go to sleep, little crude cat. Go to sleep, little birdie.